The flight had been delayed, so I was with my wife and one of my daughters, and I left the daughter with the luggage to go get, the stuff that was coming off the carousel. And she, about 5 seconds later, yelled, "Daddy, Daddy, come quick." So my first instinct is she must have dropped my suitcase. I mean, how could you call me 5 seconds after I left her? And when I turned around, I realized what had happened. A fairly big, burly gentleman who ended up being 61 years of age, which is close to my age, had collapsed, fallen on his face. And his wife was standing next to him, still processing what was going on. There was no pulse. And so the first thing you do when there's no pulse is you give the patient a pulse by doing CPR. So getting on top of his chest, compressing as hard as I could, as again, he was a thick person, so you need to really push hard. And you don't worry about breaking ribs because, there's what's worse, a broken rib or your life. So as I was doing that, I was seeing this foam coming out of his mouth, and his color was, again, horrible. So the Port Authority police had come around, thankfully. And so I had one of the gentlemen there start doing the CPR for me, and I controlled his airway. At that point, we'd asked for a defibrillator, and thankfully, again, at Newark Airport, they have them all over the place. So there's one. The defibrillator came in, slapped it on his chest, and these machines are automatic. They'll diagnose if the patient's dead. If the person's dead, they'll shock them. If they're not dead, they won't shock them. And so it pretty quickly figured out what I had discerned, which is there was no pulse. This man was dead, and it shocked him at the highest power possible. And it worked. As soon as he got his heart back, immediately began to pink up. And by the time I put him on the stretcher to take him to the ambulance, he knew he was at Newark Airport. And he didn't remember anything about what had happened, but he was starting to come to. And I've been able to correspond with his wife a few times. Thankfully, he's so far doing okay. They're still evaluating him. It's early. But the fact that he made it to the hospital, guys, the chance of surviving an out-of-hospital cardiac arrest worldwide is probably 1 in 5 at best. The chance of, in this area is maybe 1 in 10, unless someone's right there. And it shows the power of CPR if you got the right tools. The ability to do CPR and to keep someone's airway open, so breathe for them, that's basics that you can learn in a very short course, and you will then be empowered for the rest of your life to save lives. When you actually can intervene and save someone's life, and you have a little wisdom that can be shared with you in a short course, take advantage of it and be the person that you could be by playing that role. And you'll recognize how connected we really are. There's that subconscious element that's always there amongst all of us.